Good day, ladies and gentlemen. Wayne Elliott here with the Health and Wellness Show. My pleasure and honor to be with you again today. And this can be heard on the Truth Be Told radio network every Thursday at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Uh, Truth Be Told network, 8 p.m. Thursdays, Eastern Standard Time. And great to be with you today. We've got some exciting news and with some not new products, but former products that Strauss is bringing back for the ladies. And I have a special guest and dear friend with us today who I'll introduce in a moment, naturopath. Um, just a quick update on the on my myocarditis after COVID recently. Of course, I take the Strauss heart drops every day for the last almost 30 years. And when I was done COVID and got this inflammation of the heart, my blood pressure went way up and my irregular heartbeat returned. It was pretty crazy, up to 200 beats a minute there. So I've been taking large doses of the Strauss cardio support and the Strauss kidney support, and both working nicely. My blood pressure is back to normal after about 5 weeks on the kidney support, and my arrhythmia is improving every day. My irregular heartbeat, it's not taking off wild anymore, and it's regular a fair bit of the time. So everything's working along. I've been working and doing some physical work to build strength, and so God bless those Strauss products. I'll tell you that. It's I'm just so grateful for another return to good health after that nasty COVID. That was the third time I had it. So just wanted to bring you up to speed on that. That's the Strauss cardio support, the Strauss kidney support, and of course the Strauss heart drops. So my guest today, we're going to be talking a lot about women's health today. And I have my friend, long-term friend and associate naturopath, Nicole Gardner, with us today. And we're going to introduce her right now. Hello, Nicole. How are you today?
Hi, Wayne. I'm doing well. How are you?
Just fine, thank you. Good to have you on, dear. Um, I've got some questions, but I'm so excited about these uh, the two products. You may not even know about the one yet, but the one we have available now, the Woman's Wonder, that we're going to talk about. It's just fabulous for that time of the month of the menstrual cycle where young women and women suffer sometimes with uh, cramping and various issues. Makes it a miserable time for them, I know. And Strauss always said, if the ladies take this Woman's Wonder formula 3 days before their cycle is supposed to start, they may experience no cramps. And we even had people years ago, Nicole, including a couple of our ladies here that work in our office, uh, say that after they took it that one time, they never suffered the cramps again, which always amazed me. Other ladies we know had taken it several times and then didn't have to take it anymore. But very excited about that. That must be a nasty thing to suffer, and uh, so I'm glad the Women's Wonder is back, and we'll talk about that. And the Strauss is going to start making the menopause support, and it's just a great product. I remember again a couple of our ladies here that were going through it, uh, and you know the sweats and the hot flashes and all that unpleasant stuff keeps ladies awake at night and so forth, and just had fabulous results with it. It's a natural occurrence, of course, for a lady to go through menopause at some point in her life, but it turns out that all of those nasty side effects can be helped with this menopause formula. So it's already approved. The company just has to get it approved in the liquid form now. And so I would like to think that within a couple of months we'll have the menopause formula as well. So anyway, we'll get on to the rest here, Nicole. And I'm so glad that you're here with us today to speak to the ladies in our audience and help them. Nicole, when it comes to cardiovascular health, what should women be aware of, do you think?
Well, the signs and symptoms are less obvious as they are in men with women. I mean, there's similar overlap, but mainly the difference I find in women is that some women will have not just this shortness of breath and the chest, subtle chest pain, even, but they'll sometimes have pain radiating in the jaw area down the arm. They may find some sweats come out. Other things, pain and discomfort could be in the back, even in the neck region, even in the stomach. So these can cross over into different ailments, but when they all add up together and they present themselves, it definitely should be checked out. Women should get this checked out. It's not as obvious sometimes as is the grasping of the chest as it is in men, where they get that, that immense pain. It can be a little more subtle.
Yeah, yeah. Well, it's yes, many of the same symptoms, of course, that men can get. I got no warning through all this testing I've had, Nicole, since the COVID again and myocarditis. They confirmed that I did have a heart attack back at
Oh,
age. I knew I always said I had an attack before because it was never confirmed a heart attack. I didn't do anything about it, but a sledgehammer in the chest knocked me down on the ground. Couldn't see for I'll never know if it was 15 seconds or 2 minutes, but everything was white. I couldn't see anything. And when my sight came back, there was no pain or anything. The angina started not very long after that, and then the irregular heartbeat started after that. But they have confirmed that it was a heart attack half my
wow.
life ago. I guess those tanker loads of dairy and truckloads of beef I ate didn't work out for me in the end. Um, but yeah, that is, I had no symptoms before that attack. Just bang, and down I went. And I think I'm the luckiest guy in the world that I made
Wow.
it 6 or 7 years doing nothing until I found Strauss and their products.
And
What
these,
age would you say, Nicole, that women should start paying closer attention to their heart health?
honestly, if you have a familial genetic predisposition, you can start in your mid 20s, which is actually what I had to do. 30s, not too early to start prevention. Some 30-year-olds are having absolute symptoms of cardiovascular disease, the precursors. So if they're having spider veins, poor circulation, these are all signs that you're on your way. Like you've got an issue with the vascular system. So we should really not ignore that at all. We should pay close attention to that. So why not strengthen your vascular system early and prevent the degradation? So in your 20s for heart, as far as heart goes, in your 30s, definitely there's an estrogen decline with women starting as early as in their 30s, which we know estrogen's cardioprotective. So, with estrogen on the decline, you might as well start early for prevention, is what I say. Not wait until there's a subtle sign and symptom where you're lightheaded and your vision goes a little blurry and you have that little bit of jaw pain or that back pain from you think is stress. Well,
Yeah.
this could be a cardiac event. So definitely as early in your 20s or 30s.
Yeah, I agree, Nicole. I was on a show last week, and the doctor was talking about this man that was frozen in the ice. I think they named him Uli or something. And he was 5,300 years frozen in ice. And so his body was preserved. And believe it or not, they found plaquing in his arteries. And, you know, and back then there was no McDonald's drive through or things weren't as convenient. I don't even know that folks got to eat every day. Certainly, likely weren't able to eat meat every day. They had to hunt for it and so forth. I'll bet people weren't as overweight then as they are today. But the other thing that was very interesting to me is that the young men returning from Vietnam uh, had the same thing. So these are men, you know, 20 to 25 years old. I went to university with a lot of them in Florida, and amazingly, now of course, stress. We know that
Hmm,
harms us, and I don't
absolutely.
imagine there's anything much more stressful than being in a war,
Yeah.
people shooting at you and so forth. Very stressful. But these young men had plaquing in their arteries at that
Mhm.
young age. Um, so I certainly agree with you. It's a famous expression: an ounce of prevention's worth a pound of cure. So I mean, I can't complain. I didn't suffer that much after that attack in my 30s, but I'd have been a lot better off had I started earlier and wouldn't have had that attack.
Absolutely. And you know what, Wayne? Can I just jump into that point before I forget? You know, our world is so stressful right now that we're actually seeing cardiac events in younger people.
Yeah,
So, stress is a huge component. And like we have basically, different hormones and hormone like um, things that are going on in the body, like prostaglandins are a hormone-like substance. When in balance, protect the body, from injury in injury. So there's a balance of proper inflammation amounts, and then there's a over compensation, if you will. So if there's too much prostaglandins going on from stress, and it causes more inflammation, well, guess what that does? That causes more plaque buildup, because the body thinks, oh my gosh, there's an injury. So
yeah,
it keeps trying to heal that injury to that tissue in the vascular network, and really it's stress and inflammation. So the body goes into this overproduction of prostaglandins, thinking it's under attack, but it's really stress. So the stress is a huge precursor to inflammation, which is a precursor to cardiovascular disease. So yes, I am seeing young people, 25, 30, having cardiac events, and having experiencing these stressors and inflammation and plaque buildup far younger than we ever saw way back when.
you know what surprised me the other day, Nicole? Um, I had taken my blood pressure, checked my blood pressure just an hour before, and it was pretty good, 130 over 80, I think it was. And sitting there going through my emails, and I've been on this one file for over a year, and it's beginning to get annoying. And so I got an email that upset me. I read it, and I was ticked off. And I read it again, and right away I'm having this fight in my own head. And I took my blood pressure again, and it was 165 over 105
Oh, wow.
from reading an email and getting upset. So I was really surprised at that. Um, but they say stress kills, and it really can. Our cells, including our immune cells, can do the fight or flight, and you don't want them to flight. You want them to fight for you. So it's stress is a killer, and I just wanted to share that with you because it amazed me that, my goodness, I read an email, and 2 minutes later my blood pressure was way up. So
Yeah, yeah. And that's all vagal tone, and that's all vagus nerve. And I mean, not exclusively, but a huge part of it is how our brain interprets something. And then, the 10th cranial nerve is in charge of so much in our body, the fight or flight, because it innervates our adrenals. So literally the nervous system, the central nervous system, and we know the brain and the heart are connected via the vagus nerve, and that's the central nervous system. And it doesn't so these things. If we keep in check and we just do a bit of that breathing, what I do actually in this case is I take my cardio calm, Wayne.
yeah,
I love, and you know how much I love it. And you started doing the same thing. Like it for me. a little dropper full of my cardio calm on a regular basis, of course. But in those instances, and especially before I go live on the radio or live in my, in my, if I'm doing a lecture or something, it just keeps that nervous system balanced. So I'm not spiking into overreaction or cortisol release where I get brain fog. Like it really sequesters all of that. So it seriously helps with that zen and de-stressing factor for me. I don't know if you found that lately. Have you been kind of taking it more for the stress factor?
No, I've been taking the cardio support for the irregular heartbeat, because
Yeah.
it
And
worked
what do
for
you
me
find? Do you find it
almost.
first helps with stress as well?
Do you know what? I'd have to say I hadn't noticed, Nicole. As you know, I'm a busy guy.
Yeah, true enough.
I help direct a number of businesses, so there's
True.
not too many days go by I don't get ticked off at something.
Yeah, true enough.
You really
We
have
all
to.
do.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. As the saying goes, don't sweat the small stuff. And it's really
Yeah,
good advice to. My dad was very good at it. He'd always say, "What will be, will be. If something was
yeah,
meant to be, it'll be, and if it's not, it won't." And he could always take losing a bid or losing a deal
yeah.
much more calmly than me. And when I started to subscribe to his way of thinking, was years ago. We had in 1974, we recycled a submarine in Charleston, South Carolina. And at about 1980, I don't know, I'm going to guess at 83 or 85, another submarine came up for bid in Charleston. And we bid, and we were the second best bid. And someone put in a bid much higher than ours. And I said to my father, son of a gun, some joker doesn't know what he's doing. And now we got to sit on the sidelines. And he said, well, I guess it just wasn't meant to be. And I got angry with him. I said, how can you say that? We're the best ship breakers in the world. Well, the biggest hurricane to ever hit the United States hit Charleston
Oh
then.
boy.
And my dad said, where do you think we'd have been with that submarine right
Mm.
now if we had won it and started it? I said, we'd be on the bottom. He said, if it's meant to be, it'll be. And I really
Oh,
started to become a
truest
believer
word.
then. That's the last thing you want. And a submarine is designed to sink
Yeah,
quickly. They have the double skin, and
yeah,
so anyway, you can't.
yeah.
It's always best to let stuff go, and I'm not great at it.
Yeah.
I know.
Well, but that's the thing. That's the thing. I mean, it's like a level of 1 to 10. It's like, yeah, it's human to get upset, right? But
Yeah.
when we have all these adaptogenic herbs, like in the formula, heart drops have adaptogenic herbs in it. Cardio support has adaptogenic herbs in it. And it's like maybe we would have went off the scale at, been upset at 8 out of 10, and now we're kind of like, oh yeah, we're at a 5.
Right.
So for me, I find what it does immediately for my focus is great, the cardio support, and what it does long term for adaptogenic, I feel like I can handle more. Does that make that if that
Well,
makes sense?
it does make sense. The one thing that we understand very well in natural health, Nicole, is that everything connects in our body.
Absolutely.
Everything connects, and the cardiovascular system is the main system. There are
Yeah.
50,000 kilometers of veins because every single cell needs that blood. Every cell, our toenails, our head hair, everything needs the blood. So it is the most important body function. And it does make sense. You were the first one, I think, that brought that up to me, that for a calming effect, this cardio support formula. But it does make sense because that's exactly what it's doing for me with my irregular heartbeat, isn't it? It's calming it
That's
down.
how it works.
Yeah.
Absolutely, it calms it. And so I have that too. I'll get that palpitation, right? That arrhythmia, that kind of like oof. And that's why I started taking the cardio calm in the first place, because I knew it would calm that. So for me, absolutely, cardio support is doing it. I'm on my heart drops. You know my story. I've been on my heart drops since I think 25 years old. I would say almost, I would say 25 plus years.
Almost as long
And
as me.
right now, maybe not as consistent because, I was going through my years where I thought I was invincible and I had corrected everything. My mitral
Yeah.
valve prolapse was, corrected after 5 years on it, and I thought I was invincible through those times. But then I went back on it, right? I saw the signs and symptoms like varicose veins, my spider veins, just all
Yeah.
sorts of circulatory issues. And then, my family, they all had heart attacks before they were 50. So it was kind of like I went back on them, right?
Yeah.
So I would say on and off, almost like 27 years. Now I won't go without them. There's no doubt. There's no doubt. So I'm on
We got
the two.
we got similar stories on that, Nicole, because I guess it was maybe 15 years ago. I felt like $1,000,000 and I
Yeah.
thought the same thing. Well, I don't need to take them all the time. And sometimes I'd forget them for a week or two. And then I was in Cleveland uh, uh, for my wife's family reunion the next day. And we were in a grocery store, like 10 o'clock at night. And I felt a little funny and my eyes went funny, like they were moving without me moving them. And I said to my wife, I don't feel too good. Let's check out and get back to your place. And when I did, my eyes were still doing that. And I had to close my eyes because it was driving me crazy, what was happening with my eyes. So I went to the doctor when I got home. Of course, they're worried about a stroke. And I went and had a vascular ultrasound. And don't you know, I was about 50% blocked with the
Wow.
stringy fats in my carotid arteries. And so the doctor made an appointment with a vascular surgeon, and I knew I had no intention of getting them scraped out. The doctors will tell you it's a dangerous thing. If a piece breaks loose, you can have a stroke. So I knew I wasn't going to do that, but I was very hopeful. Now it took 7 months to get the appointment with the vascular surgeon. So what do you think I did? I ramped up the heart drops. And before the vascular surgeon appointment, right in the same building, they had me go for another vascular ultrasound before the appointment. I was down to 20 to 25% blockage, which they said was normal for a man my age. And the doctor said, well, there isn't anything that I would suggest you do. All he knew was
That's
that
too
test.
risky.
And
Yeah.
but after that, Nicole, I said, I'm not going to stop taking them. It runs in
Yeah.
my family too. It took many people. I thought I was going to be the youngest one to go with death by heart attack, but thank goodness I wasn't. And uh, uh,
Mm.
50, getting out of the 50s was tough for a lot of my family too. They started dying at age 50 with
Well, and especially like I can't say especially, but especially in my family, uh, it was the women. So the estrogen decline as we age, but really, really significant in the menopausal, perimenopause, and menopausal years. So with the estrogen decline, the connective tissue is thinner. The cardioprotective aspects aren't as prevalent anymore. We definitely need to be more serious about what we do in terms of our health at this age. So I won't go off of my heart drops. I'm literally on a higher dose than I was before
yeah,
because I was doing maintenance for so many years. But right now, because I'm 52, almost 53, I need to be more serious about. It's almost like as the decline is happening, I want to ramp up the goodness,
that's right.
to balance it out. So I'm back at my 2 mils 3 times a day for the heart drops. The cardio support, I do 1 ml twice to sometimes 3 times a day. But I also do my kidney blood
Yeah,
pressure, because again, the kidney organ, all the organs are affected by lower estrogen. We've got androgens, progesterone, estrogen. We've got all the female hormones that are declined, which help. They're anti-aging. So as they decline, that's we're aging because one of the prevalent reasons is because of our decline in female hormones. So if we can balance that, and now thank goodness for the women's Wonder Drops, because as a matter of fact, until we get the menopause drops out, I'm going to be taking the women's Wonder Drops, 3 ml once a day, just for the, there's 11 herbs in this formula. So they are really amazing and targeted for PMS, but there's half of them in there that are also very, very good at balancing perimenopause and menopausal women hormones. So I'm going to take it 3 ml just once a day for those aspects until we get out the menopause formula. So having said that,
hey, well, you can't hurt
I
yourself.
had no idea there was going to be something better coming out, but this is phenomenal right now.
Yeah, no, I'm excited about it too. Anything that helps people feel better and live easier is a good thing as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah.
What, Nicole, what can women take for stress and inflammation? Now, we've just talked about those 3 products. I know the heart drops, cardio support, and kidney support. I myself take turmeric curcumin capsules, and I ramped those up when I got the myocarditis, the inflammation of the heart. And, and I didn't think of it at first, I'm like the shoemaker whose kids have the worst shoes, and I didn't think of it at first, which really upset me about myself, idiot. It's right there. And I didn't take them, but I've started taking them now, and I don't think I'm going to ever stop taking them. Because inflammation, as you pointed out already, is it's a bad condition for us to live with, isn't it? Not
Yeah,
just the heart, but
absolutely.
anything.
Every
Yeah.
single one of our formulas has anti-inflammatory herbs in it. So that's one of the main claims to fame and how these work in the body. So a lot of the herbs, their mechanism of action is actually sequestering inflammation from different angles. So that in itself is paramount when you're trying to get on top and heal the body, because the body can't heal in an inflamed, which is acidic, environment. So if we can get rid of the inflammation, or at least get it down to a normal level, then our body can get in there and start healing. It can start utilizing the nutrients. The organs can work more efficiently. That's just how the body works. So all of our formulas are antioxidant, which means anti-inflammatory, which means pain reducing, which means the body can actually do its job more efficiently. And that also goes for the kidney. I just want to kudos to the kidney support big time for its ability to flush out toxins and help with edema. So again, if there's excess inflammation going on in the body, now you've got kidney support that helps flush that right out of the body. So that edema, I don't know if women experience, well, I know I did, that time the month back in the day, the inflammation was killer. Now, I know kidney drops do, or kidney formula does that, support formula does that, but also the women's Wonder Drops also help with edema. Now, they do it from a different aspect, but they have herbs in there that help with the edema that's causing, that inflammation around that time of the month that's just causing the pain. Literally, the herbs in the women's Wonder Drops help reduce that and flush it out. So different angles, mind you. Kidney drops do it from a different standpoint. The Wonder Drops do it from a different standpoint for that time of the month. Just wanted to touch base on that.
Are you suggesting maybe I should take the women's Wonder, Nicole?
Probably the kidney support. Oh, I know, prostate support. So equivalent to the women's Wonder, you could actually do the prostate for that, because the prostate support drops have herbs in it that actually help with the edema and hormone balancing for men. So yeah, that's what I would suggest.
Excellent. I find it an excellent formula, and on and off, I do take the prostate. It saved my dad's prostate. He was booked for a prostatectomy in Boston, and I convinced him after the heart drops had helped him so much, and they canceled his bypass surgery, So he went along with it, took the prostate for 3 months, went to Boston. They canceled his prostatectomy, and he died about 15 years later with a healthy prostate. So I know it's a great formula, but I did not know that, what you've just told us. So that's great. Um, so when it comes to a woman's urinary tract health, and I know there's lots of trouble with this, I think for men and women, Nicole, but with the people that I talk to on the radio, it's a real issue. Uh, it seems especially for women. I don't know why, but this urinary tract health and urinary tract infections. What do you think the women should be aware of?
So if we, I mean, 80, I think it's 80 or 85% of urinary tract infections derive in the bladder. So 9 times out of 10, 8.5 times out of 10, you're going to need the bladder support for that. You can do it prevention, bladder. I find the bladder drops are amazing for that. If I know my daughters were plagued by chronic UTIs, and they went on the bladder drops, bladder support drops, and holy, they couldn't believe it either. In 30 days, they said, well, they were on the heart drops and the bladder support drops at once. In 30 days, they said it was gone and they didn't have to take it again. Now that's for youngins that, it must have just sequestered it right away for them. Some women takes three, they want to do it and it takes 3 months. They find relief right away in the first month or even the first week, they find a little bit of relief. They keep doing it for a month. Now, some women, they want to make sure it's gone and never come back. They could do 3 months to strengthen the entire, like tonify the bladder so that it's, when a bladder is not toned from estrogen decline or whatever the case may be, it can sit like it can sag. That's where the urine sits. That's where bacteria can breed, and that's where chronic UTIs can be a thing. If we tone that bladder up, now we don't have urine capable of sitting in there. We can void the whole amount. We don't have a breeding ground for bacteria. So I usually say, do it for 3 months. What do you got to lose? Tone that bladder up. As a matter of fact, I did it for 6 months for my incontinence, and holy cow, could not believe it. It was life-changing for me.
It's a great formula. Me and my mother both took it. I guess the reason we took it was we were both getting up 4 and 5 times through the night to use the bathroom. And it didn't bother me too much, Nicole, because I usually could just go right back to sleep. Well, my mom couldn't. And so she was just exhausted all the time. And, I always tell folks that with the bladder and the kidney support products in particular, they may well get relief in days or within a week. But I plead with people to take the whole bottle, please. Do the whole job. Don't do part of the job. And I get up once through the night now, and it's which is great. Not to get up. It's worse when you're just dead tired and you have to get up, isn't it? It's not good. And of course, you could interrupt that important REM sleep, which you don't really want to interrupt. That's where we do all our healing. But I had a lady call show in Missouri. This was last year. And she said, for 25 years, nonstop, she suffered urinary tract infection. And she'd taken everything her doctor had tried. Anytime she heard of a product or saw it in the health store, she would buy it. And she heard me on the radio, I guess, talking about the Strauss bladder and kidney. And she said, well, this won't work, but I'm going to try it anyway because I'm committed to doing something about this. 25 years, I couldn't believe it. So she said, I knew it wouldn't work. Nothing works. She took the bladder formula and she called into the show to say she just couldn't believe it. In 1 month, she went to the doctor. The infection was gone. And for the first time in 25 years, she wasn't suffering. So, the stuff is it may be natural, but it's very powerful, Nicole.
It's very, very powerful. Being a tincture, being liquid, it's bioabsorbed. It's absorbed, it's bioavailable. The body loves it. The body absolutely loves these formulas. So they go to work right away. They go within the cells right away. They do their job. They're very efficient, very effective. I have great success with them. Anybody that I've ever suggested, family, friends, patients, they've always been very, very happy with the Strauss
Yeah.
products.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you, they get next to no return. So it must be people buying it are generally very satisfied. I was surprised myself. Now, I think a big key is that's in our in the bladder formula, in the kidney formula, and the prostate formula for men is the golden seal root. You know,
Mm,
nature's strong antibiotic herb, and that must be powerful because of the quickness generally that you feel some results. And but what always bothers me is, you know, Nicole, somebody takes something for 4 or 5 days or a week, and they think they're completely better, so they'll stop taking it. And I just, you know, you can't hurt yourself. You could drink a bottle a week for life and not hurt yourself. So I just hope that people will take the whole formula, even with the doctor drugs like antibiotics. They will tell you to take the whole script, you know, to do whatever it's supposed to do. So the same thing applies, I find, with these products. Why do half the job or be suffering again in a few
yeah.
months, right?
Exactly. Why not get on top of it instead of letting, you know, do a little bit of productivity and then regress? We might as well do the full job, let the cells regenerate because we know that takes time. And, you know, building tissue takes time. So building good, viable cells, which, you know, that takes 30 days, approximately 28 days to 30
Yeah,
days. And then building tissue takes. So when we're taking a product that actually strengthens the cellular strength and viability, now we need to incorporate that cell upon cell upon cell to build the tissue. So the tissue's strong. And that, my friend, took me 6 months for the bladder.
is that right?
Now, most women get away with 3 months, but my incontinence was really bad. I think I had even nerve damage during childbirth, to be honest, like the pelvic nerve region. But it did take, it had a challenge. It took me 6 months with the bladder drops, bladder support, and it's literally life changing. Like I can run now, I can jump, I can sneeze, I can cough, I can laugh, I can go out without a concern. It really was life changing for me.
Well,
So
you
even
know,
that, you
Nicole,
know,
we're like snowflakes. You know, we're all different.
yeah,
We're all different from one another to start with, and then on top of that, we're different ages, different stages, different conditions that
different
we're in.
genetics, you got it.
Yeah, the whole bit, environmental, hereditary. So we are all different, and uh, you know, when I think of the cardiocom, for example, the cardio support, I had that after that heart attack in my mid 30s. It wasn't long till I had supraventricular tachycardia, which was a one beat race. It used to beat about 5 times and then race one. I thought it was skipping a beat because there was that blank spot, you know. And I felt every race beat too, which really bothered me day and night. Went to sleep with it, woke up with it. It was 100% of the time this tachycardia, the one beat race. And I was 3 months. At that time, Strauss made it in a tea form. I was 3 months. Well, one of my teammates who was in very, very poor health, 400 pounds, and moved into my house. He was on death's door with many things wrong. He was 5 months till his arrhythmia stopped and his heartbeat went regular. And another former teammate who was physically fit, he owned gyms. That was his business, owning workout gyms, owned a number of them, worked out all his life and played football. Well, lifting heavy weights and playing football, Jim Strauss used to say they're stupid games. And I said, why? And he said, because you're not horses, you
That's so
know.
true.
And I think he's right. I do. So
That's,
from lifting all these weights, my friend was 6 months
mm,
and he was in very good shape. I mean, muscular and not overweight, but he was 6 months with his arrhythmia. Um, you know, our heart's a pump, and you can wear it out. And it's a fact, Nicole, that guys that play football in the down line position, there's a defensive line and an offensive line, and it's really just smash face, and your heart gets torqued right up to the top. You got a 250-pound guy pushing against another 300-pound or 250-pound. So our heart just gets torqued right to the max. And it's a fact that football players that play 4 or 5 years after high school live an average 10 years less than the average population.
Wow.
And
Wow.
I was on the national championship team in Canada in 1972. There was only 40 of us on the roster. 10 of them are dead now, and
Oh,
the oldest one would be 71. But the fellas who got very overweight um, started dying at 50. And
yeah. It's a
so
strain on the heart. Yeah.
there's 10 out of 40 of us gone. And it just makes sense. I mean, you can work hard and be very healthy and have a healthy heart, but that, you know, it would be like getting in your car and every time you did, you put the pedal to the metal and, floored it and then slammed on your
Yeah,
brakes.
that's a stress. Absolutely. That's another type of stress, right?
Wear out your tires, wear out your engine. Well, the same kind of thing happens with us,
Yeah.
uh, exercise and being active. There's nothing like it really. It's essential for good health.
Well, you're right. And you know what? I actually had uh, a patient that was a triathlete. So I don't like running marathons and running and swimming, the
Yep.
crazy amounts. And so, like a hardcore athlete. And the stress that puts on the physical stress on the body also causes different, like lactic acid, different acids in the body, which is causes inflammation, right? So if we don't neutralize that, we end up with too much prostaglandin release. We end up with vascular network gets rigid, it's not as flexible, and that also happens with age, right? When the estrogen declines, we lose that flexibility in our vascular network. So I had them go on what I call the cardiopulmonary support, which is our heart drops. It literally is a cardiopulmonary support, not just the heart and the whole body, because of course the circulation is the whole body when it's helping circulation and blood flow. It's helping the entire body, but a direct relation to the lungs. So helping oxygenate and keeping the lungs functioning at a high efficiency too. So helping with nitric oxide, like all the precursors for nitric oxide for vascular dilation, as well as the flexibility for her arteries. So she was on that, and she said, I can't believe the difference in my endurance, in my while I'm working out, I have better endurance, more oxygenation. So therefore, after working out, I had less lactic acid buildup. So when your heart and your lungs are working very, very well together, your lungs are blowing off the excess CO2.
Yeah.
That's huge in a triathlete's life, because they can work out longer, more efficiently, and they have less buildup of lactic acid, which means they repair and recover faster. So this is just a one-off to tell you how many people this can truly help. So they didn't actually have a cardiovascular problem, but they wanted to maximize their efficiency. So they were taking the heart drops. Isn't that profound?
Well, the first place that our heart pumps our blood is on our lungs. They're like big filters.
Yeah.
So it isn't surprising, really, that people that have heart issues, angina, clogged arteries, have breathing issues. And I certainly did way back then when I had clogged arteries in my 30s there. And I'll tell you, when I started the Strauss heart drops, I've said this 1,000 times, the first thing in 2 weeks that returned was the hearing in my left ear. And I was just blown away by that. Never dreamt it could be cholesterol. But those 50,000 kilometers of veins and vessels inside us, they're meant to have blood. Every one of those meant to not have restricted blood, not have blocked blood flow, but have blood go to those cells. So the next thing that happened, Nicole, and I was on the heart drops, maybe it's hard to remember, it's so long ago, but I'm going to say 5 or 6 weeks. And boy, oh boy, did my bronchial begin to clear. And I'll bet you I spit out. Sometimes I couldn't even clear my throat without stuff coming out.
Yeah,
I'll
yeah,
bet I got rid
detox.
of
Oh, yeah.
I swear I got rid of a half-gallon paint can of stuff over the course of a couple of weeks. And then I didn't wheeze anymore
Mhm,
and I could breathe fully and lay down at night and go to sleep and not be wheezing.
mhm.
Um, so it's you'll find that people with heart trouble often have breathing issues. I was talking on the
Absolutely.
last show about this, Nicole. Um, the difference, say, between open heart surgery, bypass surgery, angioplasty, stents, um, all of these Western medicine procedures, and how much better, in my opinion, the Strauss heart drops are. First of all, if they do a bypass, I just have a dear friend in our town here who had double bypass a few years ago. He's having such trouble with his legs now because they strip a large vein out of each leg to replace his heart arteries. Well, those veins in his legs were meant to carry blood to all those other vessels and tiny capillaries going to the skin. And so he's got major leg troubles. He has real trouble walking. It's very uncomfortable for him. So when they do a bypass, what are they replacing? 6 inches, 8 inches, 12 inches of artery. What about the rest of your body? That's why Jim Strauss used to say it prolongs death, doesn't prolong life.
Mm,
These surgeries,
agreed.
not to mention the pain and the intrusiveness of being sawed open. Well, the huge difference in my mind is those heart drops will go everywhere we have a vessel or a vein that carries blood and help dissolve plaque and calcium anywhere that we have a restriction or a blockage. So this is why sometimes it can sound like you're talking about snake oil.
Yeah, I
Heart
know.
drops can do 100 things. Well, they can. They can probably do thousands of
There's
things.
so many things when you increase the blood flow and the detox and getting rid of the heavy metals, I mean, from every nook and cranny in your body.
Yes.
What's not to love? Like when it literally is traveling through every organ and
Yeah.
and feeding nutrients. Like the blood is our life.
Yeah.
So when it's helping detoxify every nook and cranny, I mean, it's endless. It's really endless of it's not a bad thing. It's a good thing all the way around.
Oh,
All
you
the way
bet. I mean, literally everything you can think of. And this is why it can sound like snake oil. But there's been so many people over these 30 years, Nicole, have said to me they were constipated before. They're no longer constipated. Uh, that certainly isn't what the heart drops are
around.
for. But it turns out where you don't have blood flow or you have blocked blood flow
Yeah.
or restricted, you're going to have issues.
And
We always think about
stagnation.
the heart attack and the stroke being the major killers, but there's all those other parts of our body, our shoulders, our feet, our legs, all our other organs. I have come to believe in these 29 years that since I got saved and became a natural health advocate and a student of Jim Strauss for 6 years there, he would come and live with me a month at a time, twice a year. And I see natural therapists and iridologists, reflexologists. Um, I have come to believe that clean tissues are the best thing we can have, whether it's your blood system, your liver, your kidneys. And and I really think, and I've been told that by my iridologist, a fabulous man trained in Sri Lanka. He told me about 20 years ago that I have the cleanest tissues of any adult he's
Hmm.
ever seen. And the only, this, other than vitamins and minerals, the only products I take are the Strauss products, and I've taken them all, the prostate, bladder, kidney. They used to make liver until the evildoers got one of the herbs, mandrake root, got it limited. Couldn't get it banned, but they got it limited as a percentage of the total formula. Well, it didn't work anymore. It didn't work the way the original formula did. Uh, but clean tissues, and it just makes sense, Nicole. How long would any of us stay in our kitchen or our house if we didn't take the garbage out?
Yeah. There
How
you go.
long would we stay? We'd want to move out. It'd be a dump.
Amazing.
And our
Absolutely.
body is really the same thing, in my opinion, is that we've got to take the poisons out. One other point I'd like to make, Nicole, is that if someone is looking to lose weight, first of all, chew your food properly and you'll lose some weight. If you're gulping it like I used to, like a German Shepherd, 2 bites and gulp, you're going to gain weight. Jim Strauss said to me the first meal we had at the Kamloops train station. He was coming back east with me, and he ordered a bowl of vegetable soup for dinner. I asked, "What's your biggest steak?" Okay, I'll have that, and baked potato with all the fixins. And so I tear right into my dinner, and he's chewing this soup. And I said to him, I'd probably already eaten about 6 ounces of food. And I said to him, "Are you ever going to swallow that? It's soup." He said, "The way you swallow chunks and eat so fast, I'll bet you could put your finger on your tongue and your liver will start producing fat." He said, look around. He said, "Look around the restaurant. All the fat people like you are eating fast, and the normal people are chewing their food." I looked around and he was right. So the first time I really tried it, Nicole, and I was probably 85 to 90% successful. I was always in a hurry. You're eating fast. And so I was conscious. So I'd say 85% of the time I was chewing. And my God, I'd have the steel cut oats for breakfast. It would take me an hour to eat the breakfast. Uh, and my mother with me. And I lost in the first month 22 pounds doing
Wow.
nothing more than I normally did except chewing, conscious.
Chewing. Wow.
The other thing that happens, I can tell folks, is you'll realize that you're satisfied sooner.
Oh,
You keep
yes.
I used to hurry up as I was getting full and there was still food on the plate, Nicole. I'd pick up the pace to make sure I got it all, like a dumb puppy dog. So you'll find what I found is I'm now satisfied with a
Yes.
normal plate of food. No seconds, rarely
Yep.
anyway. And so you're eating less. Your stomach gets a
Absolutely.
chance to tell your brain you've had enough.
Yeah.
Uh, and the other thing I found very effective, and it's all the rage today, is this intermittent fasting. If folks can get all of their food in an 8-hour period, it can be 10 in the morning till 6 at night, 8 in the morning till 4 in the afternoon. If we can do that, it gives our body, including our heart, a rest for 16 hours. Digest the food, but then it's not. I used to go to bed stuffed full every night. So my
Yeah.
heart and everything else is working
Yeah.
while I'm supposed to be sleeping.
Your body doesn't even want to do it. It doesn't want to digest. It wants to heal, rest, and repair.
That's right.
So that
So
energy, yeah.
the big the
I'm
big
done
point.
eating at 7 p.m. I'm done for the
Are you?
day.
That's smart. That's
Yeah.
smart. Well, the big point I want to make here is if somebody was going to lose a lot of weight,
Mhm.
like my friend Joe, who was 400 pounds, if you need to lose 50 or 100 pounds or more, and if you don't at the same time detox with formulas such as the Strauss formulas to take the toxins and poisons out, when you go from, let's use round figures, if you went from 300 pounds to 200 pounds, it's a huge weight loss, and you didn't detox, if you were 10%, they say the average of us has up to 30 pounds of toxins in our body and waste. So if you had 30 pounds when you were at 300 pounds, 10% of you was waste and toxins. If you go down to 200 pounds and not detox, now 15% of your mass is waste and toxins. And I'm sure we all know people who lost a lot of weight. They don't look good, oftentimes uneven color, red, blotchy color, and
Yeah.
some get sick and die
Yeah.
because they're just a larger percentage of their mass is poison now.
Yeah.
So there's many reasons to take these kinds of products. Keep your tissues clean, keep the waste out, kill the bacteria, make blood flow everywhere. We have a vessel to carry it.
Absolutely.
And so, well, listen, Nicole, this was great today, and I hope lots of our female friends were listening to your good advice, and I appreciate you coming on the show with me very much. It's always good to see you. And folks, that's it. This is the I wanted to mention on the Strauss website, Strauss, Strauss, naturals.com, straussnaturals.com. If you use the coupon code TRUTH, TRUTH, like the Truth Be Told Radio Network, TRUTH, you'll automatically get a 10% savings on anything that you order from Strauss. So that's straussnaturals.com. There's a toll-free number if you want to talk to one of the fine ladies out there who can help you, and that's 1-866-478-2873. That's 818-866-478-2873. And coupon code TRUTH if you go on the website for a 10% savings. Thank you for joining me. This will air on the Truth Be Told Radio Network Thursday evening, 8 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. Nicole, thanks again. God bless everyone. Stay well. And until the next time, yes, stay well, be happy, don't stress too much, and take your time chewing. All right. Have a great day, folks. Bye, Nicole.
Bye.